For £5,000, which 12-year-old executive saloon with 90,000 miles on it should you buy? A BMW 3 Series and ES Spec with as many features as a Russian prison cell, or should you go for the Peugeot 508 in top spec GT trim with all the equipment you could ever realistically want? Let's find out. The best place to start this comparison is actually finding out what equipment you get with both cars. With the BMW 3 Series you get alloys, climate control in the front and cruise control, and that is about it. However, the 508 adds stuff like sat-nav, Napa leather seats, the 3 Series only comes with cloth, a head-up display, xenon headlights, parking sensors, heated, massaging and electrically adjustable seats, rear blinds, climate control in the front and the rear, blind spot assistance and a reversing camera. The 508 definitely stacks up some points in this category then, and the great thing is most of these features can still be found on mid-spec Allure trim as well. How do the two cars drive though? An area the BMW should regain many of its lost points. Well, it's no surprise that the 3 Series is pretty much unfaultable when it comes to driving dynamics for the class. Fun to drive, agile, and on the small wheels you find on ES Spec, the ride is quite compliant. However, the Peugeot is better than you might expect and a far cry away from the 407 that came before it. It blends a great balance of ride comfort and unexpected agility as well as front end grip. Put it this way, you'll have more fun in the 508 than you would in a Passat. There's even a decent amount of steering feedback. The top spec GT version also gets double wishbone suspension that further improves the handling and the ride comfort. Although the 3 Series does take the win in this category, it is a very close one. BMW know how to make a diesel, and despite being the entry-level 316D, it still impresses. This engine is codenamed the B47 and is essentially a detuned version of the 320D. It's a great power plant with good power delivery and can deliver great fuel economy, something that will be important when we come to the cost section. However, the power plant can't really compare to the 2.2 litre diesel found in the 508. With 201 horsepower and 450 Nm of torque, it's simply quite a bit faster than the 316D. The automatic gearbox found in the 508 is smooth, but it's noticeably slower than the equivalent automatic gearbox you'll find in the 3 Series. Fuel economy does take a hit though, more on that later. A win for the Peugeot though. A final couple things to mention before looking at the costs are the styling and the practicality. The 508 has great space up front and in the back when it comes to head and legroom, and the boot is also large at 550 litres. In the 3 Series there's plenty of space up front, but it's noticeably more cramped in the rear. Boot space is also down at 480 litres. As for styling, I think both are great looking cars, and if I was comparing the 508 to an M Sport 3 Series, I'd be choosing the 3 Series in a heartbeat. However, the base spec car, this ES Spec, looks a bit, well, basic, and I like to say it's a draw. As I promised, let's look at the costs. In terms of purchase price, they're both evens. Tax on the 3 Series is just £35 a year compared to £210 on the Peugeot. The Peugeot is also in a much higher insurance bracket than the 3 Series, but I'm not sure how different the quote will be in the real world. Honest John quoted a very respectable 52 real MPG for the BMW and a less impressive 40 MPG for the Peugeot. I'd imagine depreciation will be very similar, but in the long run I think the 3 Series will lose slightly more of its value. As far as reliability is concerned, both cars are very similarly matched, and it's more a case of looking out for a car that has been well maintained. The BMW should work out cheaper overall in the long run though. All things considered, the Peugeot takes the win here. Not only is it the fastest, the most practical and way better equipped, but it's also great to drive, albeit not quite as good as the 3 Series. This comparison would favour the 3 Series if we were looking at a 320D in one of the higher specs, but the fact of the matter is, one of these cars will charge a premium of £2,000, and it will still be not as well equipped as the Peugeot.